We can't be stream enterers if you haven't started the stream.
Ah, that's a koan for you. We have entered the stream. Continue.
Oh, lovely. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for coming to this Ryaku Fusatsu. We will we'll start with a little zazen and then ceremony. And because everybody here has done this before, right? I don't need to do a walkthrough. Okay. No. Okay. Well, there's the whole thing is a ceremony, so we'll start with some zazen. We have some ceremony stuff. You can either do prostrations during the end of the invoking the presence of the Buddhas or not. You can also just gasho in place. But yeah, mostly just follow along. It should be pretty easy. Okay. Well, Jin Khan, I don't see your video, but I'm assuming that's by design. I hope you're well today. Yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll just start with a few minutes zazen, so you can sit where you are if you'd like. If your legs are already tired, you can get up and sit in your corner if you would like. It's up to you. Again, welcome everybody. Before we get started, I usually try to have some kind of reflection on the precepts, and I did not prepare anything today. But that's good practice for, one day if I ever try to teach somebody something. I don't think Jundo necessarily comes to the Zazen Kai like with something prepared every week either. When we were just sitting, the thing that popped into my head was our metta practice of loving kindness and opening our hearts, and how that relates to the precepts. So I'm going to wing it here, but in Buddhism, we have the 5 remembrances, right? I am subject to aging. There's no way to avoid aging. I am subject to illness. There's no way to avoid illness. I'm subject to death. There's no way to avoid death. And everything that we love, we're going to be separated from in the relative. It's going to change. Maybe that's I don't know the exact wording. It's going to change. It's going to become different. And our only true possessions are our actions. And I know I've talked about that before with respect to the precepts, but it really is true. I hope we all feel that our only true possessions are our actions. Everything else, but our actions, just once you take an action in the here and now, it never goes away. It just ripples out forever. I've talked about in the forum and stuff that there's been a fair amount of death and sickness in my family in the last year. I've had a couple of family members pass away, including my mother-in-law who lived with us for 4 years. And I came to Buddhist practice terrified of death. I don't know if any of the rest of you have that experience, but that was a big part of literally what brought me here, to sit down on the cushion. And it didn't take that long for that to disappear, for the first time in my life, to really sit with what change means, and what emptiness means. That, to a certain extent, I literally don't believe in death. I don't believe in birth. I don't believe in death. Something changes. Forms change. So then, sort of the next 10 years of Buddhist practice was learning how to live, right? Like, okay, cool, I got that death thing covered. I'm not really doing okay there. But being with family who is in the process of dying, the act of dying, that's a little scary to me again, right? Like the death, the oblivion, the non-existence. I don't believe in non-existence. That's not scary. But the act of dying and suffering is still very real. And I think that part of what Buddhist practice gives us there too is a way to skillfully relate to that change through love. And love's a very loaded word. It's a complicated word in English. I don't know how it is for everyone, but certainly in English it's a complicated word. It's romantic love, and it's the love of a parent for their child, and it's a love of a beautiful scene, and it's a complicated word. And so I think probably that's part of the reason we don't always translate metta, that we keep it as it is, because it has a slightly different meaning. But love is part of it. Loving kindness is part of it. And I think that for me, a real solace in the past year has been loving what is. loving those who are suffering. In a weird way, even loving their suffering and our suffering. Because the things that arise in us as human beings are completely innocent and natural, right? Like everything you feel because your ancestors felt it, because of, innumerable causes and conditions for kalpas throughout history. So it's innocent. So our jobs really are just to relate to it in a skillful way. And love is such an important part of that, I think. And so I think for me this month, I really want to, like, as we recommit to the precepts in this ceremony, part of what's my goalless goal with this is to relate to them from a place of love, not just of like, oh, these are the rules and I'm trying to follow them, which is good too. It's good to live skillfully, but my goal is to relate to them from a place of love. Why would we commit to doing good and not doing harm? Well, because we love the world. We don't want to harm. I love it. Now, sometimes, as we've talked about many times, you can't avoid it. It's that trolley problem, except like, I'm not going to eat meat. I'm just going to eat, plants, but plants are beings too. And also, like, we cleared a whole bunch of forest and drove the animals away so that we could turn it into farmland so we can, it's okay. To love this body is to care for it, and I got to feed it something. To love those animals and plants is to acknowledge them and to be skillful in the rest of my life. So anyway, I think that's kind of my reflection for the month, is that I want to really engage with the precepts from a place of love, of loving kindness, of metta for all beings, every rock, every hill, every cloud, every tree, every squirrel, every chipmunk, every human being, every car, every whatever. To love all of it. The complications, the things that are right, the things that feel good, the things that feel bad. To just love all of it. So anyway, that's my reflection. Let's go out and love. So, okay. But now we will start with our confession and atonement.
Instant suffering.
What's the instant suffering?
Beginning.
What? Oh yeah, the beginning.
Welcome.
Yeah, ceremony first. All right. And the dog's toy is right in the way. All right, go get it. Can you see me here?
Yes. Ready?
Ready. So now we will do our confession and atonement. The great precepts of Gautama Buddha were kept by all Buddhas. They were transmitted from Buddha to Buddha. They were received by ancestor after ancestor. Our great master Gautama Buddha transmitted the precepts to Master Mahakāssyapa. Master Mahakāssyapa transmitted the precepts to Master Ananda. And the transmission of the precepts has continued in this way, passing from orthodox successor to orthodox successor in one line. Now we reaffirm our commitment to the precepts, to return the profound benevolence of Gautama Buddha, and we trust this to be the true reception of Gautama Buddha's wisdom and life. Respectfully following the approval of Gautama Buddha, we would like to devote ourselves to the precepts, beginning with atoning for past misdeeds.
All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all.
This next part, if you'd like to do prostrations, cool. If you'd like to just bow in place, that's good too.
Homage to the 7 Buddhas of the past. Homage to Shakyamuni Buddha, a person of this earth. Homage to Miroku Buddha, symbol of hope for the future. Homage to Monju Bodhisattva, symbol of great wisdom. Homage to Fugen Bodhisattva, symbol of great activity. Homage to Kanzeon Bodhisattva, symbol of great compassion. Homage to the successive generations of ancestor Bodhisattvas.
So for the next section, we will do the water purification ceremony. So if you brought water and greenery, that's great. If you haven't, just can just mime this. This is symbolic. We are going to wash away and purify our hearts and minds, cleansing the past and sincerely vowing to live by the precepts moving forward. Now we'll do a short reading from the Brahmajala Sutra. All you disciples of the Buddha, join your palms in reverence and listen wholeheartedly. I would now like to articulate the preface to the great precepts of the Buddhas. If members of the assembly will quietly listen, they will know that they have done wrong, and they will atone. If they atone, then they will be at ease. If they do not repent, their wrongdoings will grow more grievous. Those who have done wrong are silent, and because of their silence, you should know that they are all purified. Worthy monks, laymen, laywomen, and all the rest, listen well. In this difficult age, when the lifetime of the Buddha sometimes seems distant, you should revere the pratimoksha. The pratimoksha is none other than these precepts. When you observe these precepts, it is like darkness meeting with light. It is like someone poor attaining a treasure. It is like someone who is ill being healed. It is like a prisoner being released from their chains. It is like a traveler who is able to return home. You should know that these rules, the pratimoksha, are the great teacher for this assembly of people. They are no different from the presence of the Buddha in the world here and now. Thoughts of fear are difficult to produce. Unwholesome thoughts are difficult to give rise to. Therefore, a sutra says, do not trivialize minor misdeeds as if they are not problematic. Drops of water, although tiny, will gradually fill a large basin. A single instant of wrongdoing can lead you to fall into a hell of uninterrupted suffering. And once you lose your human body, you may not get another for 10,000 kalpas. Just as a galloping horse passes by swiftly, one's physical strength will not remain. The transience of human life goes beyond the mountains and the seas. Even if something remains for the duration of one day, it will be quite difficult to hold on to tomorrow. Members of the assembly should each energetically advance your own minds. Be careful not to be lazy, negligent, drowsy, or arbitrary. In the evening, you must gather your thoughts and focus them firmly on the three treasure. Do not take as being a waste of time the effort to deepen your repentance for those of later generations. Members of the assembly, each of you in your own minds should carefully rely on these precepts. Discipline yourselves in the practices that accord with the Buddha's teachings. Respectful devotion to Buddha. Respectful devotion to Dharma. Respectful devotion to Sangha. Devotion to Buddha, the Supreme One. Devotion to Dharma, the supreme purity and teaching. Devotion to Sangha, the supreme community. Perfect devotion to Buddha. Perfect devotion to Dharma. Perfect devotion to Sangha. Now the three pure precepts. Today I reaffirm my commitment to seek as I can in this body and life, to avoid doing harm, to seek as I can in this body and life, to live in a healthful and helping way, doing good, to seek as I can in this body and life, to live for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now the 10 fundamental precepts. Today I reaffirm my commitment to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from the killing of life, to seek as I can in this body and life, to live in generosity and refrain from taking that which is not given freely, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from misusing sexuality and all desire, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from false and malicious speech, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from intoxication in its many forms, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from unconstructively criticizing the errors and faults of others, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from praising oneself and judging others, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from stinginess and bestowing the Buddhist teachings and all precious things, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from all anger, to seek as I can in this body and life, to refrain from disparaging the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha.
To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way unattainable.
Abiding in this ephemeral world, may we exist in muddy water with purity like a lotus. Nothing escapes the boundless mind. Thus we bow to Buddha. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reaffirming our commitments to the precepts, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, Honored One, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to the all-pervading and everlasting three treasures, to all arhats and bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, and their relations throughout the Dharma worlds. May our sincere vows to accomplish and live the enlightened way be realized together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, Maha, Ajna, Paramita. Good. Thank you, everybody, for coming together to reaffirming your commitment and for creating Sangha. Coming together to do this manifest Sangha. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you all. So get out there and live your lives with love and care for yourself and everything that you meet. Have a good month,